Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to our friends in Bangladesh and good morning to our friends in Turkey. I'm Mossaddique Ahsan, founder of Station Dhaka, the startup ecosystem connector in Bangladesh. We welcome you all to the launch event of the Turkish Bangladeshi Innovations and Technology Series. We are honored and privileged today to have amongst ourselves His Excellency Mr. Mossaddique Ahsan, Ambassador of the Republic of Turkey to Bangladesh, Ms. Tina Zabin, CEO and Managing Director, Startup Bangladesh Limited, ICT Division, and distinguished business leaders from top companies and associations in Bangladesh and Turkey who have joined us today to grace this occasion and share their insights and experiences under the panel discussion on the theme Connecting Turkish and Bangladeshi Startup Ecosystems. We thank you very much. Startup Bangladesh is a flagship initiative of the government of Bangladesh, who is focused on building a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovations and startups in the country to drive sustainable economic growth and generate large-scale employment opportunities. They are also focused on accelerating growth of Bangladeshi startups by mobilizing capital for investment into promising Bangladeshi innovations and technologies, providing international market access and creating an environment of frugal Bangladeshi innovations in global corporations and markets. Europe and MENA region are the most interesting locations of Bangladeshi startups to expand their business. This makes Turkey an ideal market, acting as a gateway to both the regions. Bangladesh startup ecosystem has been mentioned as the untapped digital goldmine of Asia, while Turkey has a more experienced, stronger ecosystem. And startup technology collaborations need to be increased between Turkey and Bangladesh further. And to kickstart this collaboration, Embassy of Turkey in Bangladesh and Station Dhaka have come together with the support of government and private sector stakeholders of both countries for the launch of Turkish Bangladeshi Innovations and Technology Series 2020. The unique program will provide Bangladeshi startups the opportunity to get mentored by experts and leaders in the Turkish market. At the same time, Turkish companies and startups can also seek growth opportunities by making joint collaborations with Bangladeshi partners. We truly appreciate the support extended by the embassy to drive this mission of joint innovation and collaboration. May I now please invite His Excellency Mr. Mossaddique Ahsan, Ambassador of the Republic of Turkey to Bangladesh, for his introductory remarks and opening address.
Thank you, Mossaddique. I'm very pleased to partner with the ICT Ministry and Station Dhaka to host this very first gathering between Turkish and Bangladeshi startup ecosystems. So I'm also grateful to Ms. Tina Zabin, the CEO of Startup Bangladesh, Ms. Elif Koshok from TÜBİTAK and other panelists for joining us in this unprecedented event. You have laid out, Mossaddique, the context in which we are organizing this event. I just want to share a couple of thoughts before I pass the floor to our distinguished panelists. First of all, the importance of entrepreneurs for sustainable economic development. As we all know, entrepreneurs are there not just to make profits, but also solve significant problems that our societies are facing. So those solutions contribute to the implementation of sustainable development goals. We are, in fact, moving towards an impact economy in our countries and across the world in general. Today, entrepreneurs, they, as I said, they have an intention to create an impact, and they also, with this intention, through their business models, they actually create a positive, change in the society. Investors, at the same time, they care more and more about investing in those type of entrepreneurship models that help governments and the society in general to solve complex development problems. Turkey's foreign policy also is very active in the field of Sustainable Development Goals implementation. We subscribe to the overarching goal of the SDGs to leave no one behind. we also, as Turkey, attach great importance to the role of private sector in development. When we say private sector, we should not only understand the large companies. We believe that startups who have the potential to scale up is an important actor in terms of development, as I said earlier. So that's how the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of my country, where I work, has come up with this idea of an SDG Impact Accelerator a few years ago. We have brought together very distinguished participants and partners, including UNDP, World Food Programme, which has just recently won the Nobel Peace Prize. We have gathered Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Qatar Fund for Development, and Turkish private sector, Limak and Eczacıbaşı, two large companies in Turkey. And with this partnership structure, our accelerator has become an embodiment of the SDG 17, which is also about partnerships. The reason why we have come up with this project and platform, this multi-stakeholder platform, is because we believe complex problems of sustainable development require systemic solutions. And that's why the accelerator, which we will talk about more thanks to the accelerator leader, Mehmet Ünsal, who's going to give you a more detailed presentation. But what I would like to say about this is that this novel approach that we adopted through this accelerator, which brings together enablers, meaning the experts from government, private sector, civil society and universities, together with entrepreneurs, really empower entrepreneurs who want to address these complex problems. So last year we had our first program in Turkey, focusing on the needs of the refugees. And this year we will replicate the program in Bangladesh and in Uganda. We are working closely with partners because the reason why we chose Bangladesh is because there is a great potential for collaboration between the two countries, because both Bangladesh and Turkey have growing economies, vibrant startup scenes, and both governments are very keen on supporting the entrepreneurs. We know that the government of Bangladesh, through its Digital Bangladesh program, is very actively supporting the startups in Bangladesh. So we know that Bangladesh is the second largest freelance IT professional provider to the whole world. And also what I have witnessed since I came to Bangladesh in January, this is a country which is quite resilient. Resilient in the face of many natural disasters, resilient in the face of many complex development challenges. The effects of climate change is on the top of the list. So whatever the solutions that are found in Bangladesh would be pioneering solutions in different parts of the world, because the necessity, as you know, is the mother of innovation. What I witnessed also was a very rapid response to COVID pandemic here by repurposing innovations through the institution called Access to Information under the Ict Ministry, and all the other partners in Bangladesh. They have demonstrated a very innovative approach in their response to COVID pandemic. I'm also very pleased because this meeting that we are having today, even at the stage of its announcement, has already started to create some partnerships. a friend of mine who is in a startup in Turkey called İdema, Güler, I hope she's listening to me, and an edu tech startup, Boygor, here in Bangladesh. They are now talking for partnership possibilities for an e-learning platform here in Bangladesh. So this initiative that we have taken together with Station Dhaka and ICT Ministry has already started to yield some very nice fruits of collaboration. As Mossaddique has announced, this is the beginning of a series of meetings, and the next meeting we are hoping to host Honorable ICT State Minister Pollock when we open the SDG Impact Accelerator call in November. So let's work together and let's change our countries and the world, contribute to the change in the world together. I wish you good luck in your endeavors. Thank you very much, Mossaddique.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for the guiding words and emphasizing on the importance of Turkish and Bangladeshi relations and synergies between the two markets. This brings us to the launch of the program and the main goal of this unique initiative, which is to encourage cross-border knowledge and exchange and prepare entrepreneurs for expansion to Turkey and beyond, and vice versa. Through this program, Bangladeshi startups that are keen to explore and take Turkey as a market for their business expansion will be mentored by industry experts and leaders. The entire program will be focused on one-to-many relationship models, mentorship models, covering various essential topics to prepare the startups. Although many startups know that it is important to think global and expand internationally for additional revenue, the underlying actions required may not always be as clear and as simple. Each country has a different environment and there are multiple other factors at play. Partnering with local talent and right companies and so much more is needed for success. It is definitely not a straightforward process, especially for the startups. Turkey and Bangladesh have enjoyed strong relationships and excellent cooperation with a bilateral trade of about $1 billion. We aim to touch base on many of these important factors and understand from the leaders who ventured into international markets successfully. I now have the pleasure of introducing first panelist for today, Ms. Tina Zabin. She guided the team in crafting the investment and operations guideline at ICT Division for building Startup Bangladesh Limited. She has 25 plus years of extensive experience in private equity and VC industry with technical expertise in due diligence, return models, valuations, VC governance, legal and tax treaties. Ms. Tina Zabin, thank you sincerely for joining us. We would love to learn from you today about Startup Bangladesh activities, opportunities of collaboration with Turkish startup ecosystem, ICT Ministry investments in development of ecosystem and vision. Ms. Tina Zabin.
Thank you very much, Mossaddique Ahsan. Good afternoon, His Excellency Mustafa Turan. It's very nice listening to your very encouraging and inspiring opening comments. A very good afternoon to my colleagues and very distinguished panelists from the other side of the border, from Turkey, and also my startup family members here. I see the chairman of VCPEAB, Shamim Hassan, and also president of BASIS, Almas Kabir, and of course, you know, the trailblazer, Fayaz Taher of our startup ecosystem from Startup Dhaka. I would like to, you know, kind of extend a very warm welcome from the ICT Ministry and on behalf of our ICT State Minister. So as Mossaddique Ahsan said that, you know, I basically had the venture capital fund, which is wholly owned by the government of Bangladesh, Startup Bangladesh Limited. And this is actually a pioneering effort. Just like our ambassador said that, you know, just having this session is an unprecedented event, but just the beginning of many. You know, Startup Bangladesh Limited started with 500 crore Dhaka allocation, which is about $55 million allocation from the from Honorable Prime Minister. It's kind of a gift from her to our startup community. And it shows that how committed our senior leadership is to build the startup ecosystem, to build an innovation-based economy in Bangladesh. So I would like to thank Mossaddique, you, and Station Dhaka for bringing us together. And before, I go into a little bit about Startup Bangladesh Limited, just because I have, our colleagues and very distinguished panelists from Turkey, I wanted to kind of share a very little bit about just Bangladesh economy in general. As you know, that Bangladesh is the 8th most populous country in the world, and it's growing quite steadily, about 7% for the last decade. COVID probably dampened the projection a little bit for the next decade, but we are pretty much on track. The country has a very predominantly young population, and we are projecting that more than 2 million young Bangladeshi professionals are going to reach annual income of over 5,000 every year. And also, I heard that, I believe it's Ambassador Mustafa Turan said, that it's the density dividend. We have the highest GDP per square mile in this region, which is almost 56%. So that means that, the country is at a very highly advantageous position to support the innovation and the entrepreneurial spirit that our young innovators, young population carry. And, I've been in Bangladesh for the last 4.5 years, and I have to be honest that, resilience is an understatement for our young population and the entrepreneurs. They are extremely resilient, extremely resourceful. What a Silicon Valley Stanford graduate does with all the resources of a first world country, I think if we give that to one of our undergrads or graduates in Bangladesh, we would have had 10-folds of result. These kids are that resourceful. And I can say that because, I worked in the Valley for 25+ years directly with thousands of startups. So, this is an extremely resilient country with a very resourceful young entrepreneurs. And the reason I say all of this, because, I have very distinguished representatives from Turkey, Turkish startup ecosystem. So that is kind of, an advertisement that come and check us out, okay? It's totally worth your time and effort and resources. The last point is that, we do have a very growing consumer disposable income. And obviously, we all know about Digital Bangladesh. Internet penetration is increasing. And with that, there is opportunities of growth and disruption in many industries, specifically in fintech, enterprise solutions, lifestyle, logistics, health tech, agri-tech, edutech. And of course, these are going to play a big role in accomplishing the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goal. And this is perfect. Honorable Ambassador said that, Turkey is planning to launch an SDG-focused accelerator, thinking about partnering with Bangladesh. And I think that's fantastic. So kind of a little bit about, Bangladesh as where the country is, a little bit of economic data, but also wanted to share a little bit about our startup ecosystem. So the startup ecosystem is pretty young. It's not even 10 years old. I think Startup Dhaka, we have Fayaz Tahir here, who is, Startup Dhaka is one of the pioneering key stakeholders in our startup ecosystem who actually started investing in startup about 10 years ago. But the ecosystem has really got the steam about 5 years ago. So it's really a very young ecosystem, but the result is quite impressive. And again, without much government intervention, the Startup Bangladesh Limited and the government ICT focused on startup, developing the startup ecosystem probably 3-4 years ago. But so in last 5 years, just if I can share some stats with all of you. So we have about 2,500 active startups, and probably out of the thousands, about 1,000 startups are pretty much strong, and probably half of that are in growth stage and late seed stage. We have about 200 startups every year, new startups every year. And we brought in the last 5 years, brought in about 270 some million dollar of foreign investment. It's probably not a big number when you compare to all the big numbers that you hear globally, but for an ecosystem which is very young and very new, it's also a very new thing for Bangladesh. It's actually very, very, very impressive. We have about 20 some accelerators and incubators. And if you add the university accelerators, I think it would be about 42. So the Startup Bangladesh itself, as I said, we have about allocation of $55 million of fund. And the interesting fact is the startups made a pretty promising contribution to the economy as far as employment goes. It generated about 1.5 million of indirect investments. So it's a pretty new ecosystem, but it's very robust, and really I think Mossaddique said that it's kind of an untapped gold mine. So again, I would encourage a partnership. I would encourage you come and engage with our startups, and because I think that it is ready to really take off. So where are we going from here? I mean, we have this fund, and we also have, in addition to the venture capital fund, the ICT Ministry also have some other programs, which is also gearing towards supporting our startups, and also promoting globally, promoting Bangladesh globally. Briefly, couple of programs from the ICT Ministry. One of them is the Bangladesh High Tech Park project. And Honorable Ambassador, I think when we spoke last time, we were talking about possible meeting probably with the High Tech Park Authority. So High Tech Park, there are about 28 High Tech Park in different stages of development. There are 4 which is operational, and the other ones are we hope that it will be operational in a couple of years. The High Tech Park facility is doing 2 things. One, it is attracting foreign manufacturers to come to Bangladesh, set up their plants, and basically driving this initiative through different type of incentivization, tax holidays, and very beneficial capital repatriation. Is hosting startup hubs, accelerators in each of these 28 high-tech hubs. And we encourage and invite all of you to look into it. So that's one. The other one is IDEA project, Innovation Design Entrepreneurship Academy. And this project is specifically to provide grants to our startups, idea stage startups. So Startup Bangladesh is a VC funding seed and growth stage startups. IDEA project is providing grants. So far, we have provided grants to about 150 startups, and some of them have scaled up and become growth startups, and some are in their mid seed stage. So those are 2 more relevant projects that the ICT Ministry is running. The last point I want to make is where we are going from here. So now that we have COVID, which kind of totally changed the environment for startups, investment, global trades, and everything. So right now, we are working on the national ICT policy, and which is focusing on the market that has been created because of COVID, and also the technological challenges that we have to address in a kind of a fast-paced basis, because we need to use technology to fight these type of unprecedented crisis. It is COVID today, but it can be something else tomorrow. So for that, we are creating a roadmap for an inclusive digital Bangladesh. And basically in that roadmap, there are certain things that we are focusing on, which is digital commerce, freelancing. Honorable Ambassador mentioned freelancing. We are the second highest freelancing provider in the world. Also BPO, ICT infrastructure, hardware, software, and emerging technology. And we also want to focus on agriculture and food security, health and well-being, very important, especially now, we are going through this COVID crisis. There is a huge demand of, demand for mental well-being, addressing people's mental well-being issues, education, employment skills, supply chain, social protection, financial inclusion is a big thing, and also public and private transformation and innovation. So these are certain areas where the ICT Ministry is focusing on, factoring in the COVID situation, and also, kind of making digital Bangladesh more inclusive. I wanted to finish with the last point, which is financial inclusion, because that fits very well into SDG. So right now we are working on, from the ICT Ministry, from Startup Bangladesh, we are working on a project. It's interoperable digital payment platform, which is basically an aggregator platform where all the digital payment, the transactions is going to happen digitally between the providers, MFS, NFIs. So basically, it's going to provide kind of a lower cost facility for digital transactions, but very importantly, it is going to give a lot more financial empowerment to millions of RMG workers, millions of the day laborers, if we can successfully execute this project. So, and definitely, it is going to fit into our financial inclusion strategy for the country. Startup Bangladesh Limited is just started its operation in March 2020, right before COVID, and we are looking into investing in startups, seed stage, growth stage, and our ticket size is about 50 lakhs, which is about $40,000 to up to $750,000, depending on the stage of the startups. And we are also open to partner with foreign accelerators, partner with governments in bringing in the latest innovation, and also do this cross-pollination of technology and work with different startup ecosystem key players. So I look very forward to hearing from everyone else. And if anyone has any questions, I'm very happy to share my contact information, and I really look forward to an engaging relationship going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Tina Zubin. Thank you so much for your wonderful speech. May we now move to our next panelist representing the government sector from Turkey.
Thank you. His Excellency Mustafa Osman Turan and Ms. Tina Jabin, dear participants, entrepreneurs, opinion leaders of the entrepreneurial ecosystem of Bangladesh and Turkey, all welcome. In my speech, I would like to introduce our entrepreneurship ecosystem and further opportunities for entrepreneurs in Turkey. As you know, technology-based innovative startups, which are expected to accelerate development, face many important issues. Among the most important issues facing startups are their difficulties accessing to finance, finding appropriate mentorship, and collaborating with large enterprises. TÜBİTAK has the mission of supporting businesses, R&D and innovation projects, and TÜBİTAK takes critical measures and introduces new support mechanisms, as well as revision of some basic programs. Innovation and entrepreneurship programs have been designed to use common resources and produce outcomes that feed each other. I want to show with this slide to this. For example, an academic researcher may get an assistance for patenting his new idea from his university technology transfer offices. That has been supported a program of TTO program in TÜBİTAK. And after that, he may also apply to a big program, which is with his new business idea, and he can get mentorship training, pre-incubation programs provided by another TTO supported program, 1501. And after that, he can write a business plan for applying the second phase of the big program. And should his business plan be accepted, he establishes a company and receives the capital funding and project grant under the big program. In order to find more external capital funding to make his research idea a commercial success, he may apply to a venture capital company that could be funded under the TÜBİTAK Tech Investor program. And continuing the work he did under the big program, his company may apply to our SME funding R&D grant program, 1507, for further grants. As TÜBİTAK, we support young innovative enterprises. TÜBİTAK has been running Techno Entrepreneurship Program, as I said, big program, since 2012. The aim of this grant program is to support entrepreneurs to create technology-based startups with R&D capacity for providing innovation. And Accelerator plays a big role here. Programs vetting and screening process has been delegated to accelerators. Now we are working with 63 accelerators work all around Turkey to help these big companies. And every year, TÜBİTAK supports approximately 300 new startups every year. TÜBİTAK also started a mentorship program, Big Plus, with the aim of generating nationwide mentoring services for SMEs. The objective of the mentorship program is to increase the commercial maturity level and R&D and innovation capacity of SMEs benefiting from the TÜBİTAK R&D and innovation supports. First of all, I have to share some statistics regarding our big program. As I said before, since 2012, we are supporting these startups with big program. And since 2012, more than 28,000 business ideas were handled by the accelerators of TÜBİTAK. They handled the initial screening and eliminate the business ideas. They provide guidance to more than 4,500 business ideas. With their mentor guidance, more than 4,000 business ideas becomes a business plan. Those business plans apply to TÜBİTAK, and approximately 1.5 thousands of them supported by TÜBİTAK and established new startups. And we have the latest program called Tech Investor Venture Capital Support Program that address access to finance problem has been established in cooperation with TÜBİTAK and the Ministry of Treasury and Finance. Tech Investor program support R&D intensive early stage companies in need of financial resources through the establishment of new funds to provide venture capital. Creating a sustainable venture capital ecosystem and providing experience and resources in venture capital in technology development zones, technology transfer offices, technology infrastructures of university, they can participate as limited partners of venture capital funds, which are established with Tech Investor program, and 50% of their contribution to these university institutions for VC funds will be supported by TÜBİTAK in the form of grants. In order to ensure sustainable functioning of the program, a cooperation agreement was signed between TÜBİTAK and the Ministry of Treasury. It was agreed that the Ministry of Treasury will be a limited partner in order to ensure the funds to be formed strongly. Furthermore, third-party investors as commercial banks, investment banks, pension funds, angel investors, private investors, private corporations, public institutions, and other foreign institutions like EIF, EBRD, IFC will also participate in these funds as LPs. Within the scope of the Tech Investor first call, 33 university institutions request for participation in 10 separate VC funds. TÜBİTAK approved these requests, and decision was transferred to Ministry of Treasury. Ministry of Treasury completed the evaluation process of the applications and announced the decision on new 5 funds, which Ministry of Treasury will initiate the protocol process in order to participate. After the establishment of these funds, it's aimed to start investments in order to commercialize the R&D results of early stage technology-based enterprises established in Turkey. I want to share some numbers regarding this program also. With the contribution of the Ministry of Treasury and Finance, it is aimed the funds to be established to reach more than 600 million Turkish liras as the first closing and 1,100 million Turkish liras at the last closing. Funds are expected to invest in approximately 150 early stage technology-based enterprises built in Turkey within next 5 years, and to grow and commercialize these initiatives. Also, in the scope of this program, it is expected that employed 16 personnel in these 12 institutions will provide the necessary knowledge and experience accumulation regarding the venture capital ecosystem. Before finishing, I really want to thank you to all for your invitation to this distinguished and important event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Koshak. Thank you for your remarks. I may now present Mr. Shamim Ahsan, Chairman of Venture Capital and Private Equity Association of Bangladesh. Mr. Shamim is an ICT entrepreneur, venture capital investor, and policy maker widely recognized for his work to improve the reputation of Bangladeshi ICT industry in the global space. He has played a pivotal role in the implementation of all major policy changes related to the ICT sector in the last 1 decade. He is a member of Prime Minister's Bangladesh Task Force from the private sector, which is the highest policy-making body to monitor and implement the vision of Digital Bangladesh. He will be speaking on investment climate in Bangladesh, policies and opportunities of ecosystem collaboration. Mr. Shamim Hassan.
Thank you very much, Mossaddique. Your Excellency, Ambassador Mustafa Osman Turan, we really appreciate you initiating this and creating this platform for Turkey and Bangladesh startup and venture ecosystem to collaborate. And also thanks to Mossaddique for coordinating this wonderful initiative. As Tina Zamin Appa has mentioned, Bangladesh is the fastest growing economies in the world, and 80 million of our population are now aged less than 25 years old. And also, if you see that the MAC population, the middle affluent class, has grown to 19 million in 2020 and expected to grow to 33 million by 2025. So if I ask to any investors from any global platform that if you get an opportunity to invest in Alibaba, Baidu, Tencent, Facebook 10 or 15 years ago at a $20 million valuation, would you take this opportunity? So I think it's a no-brainer. There are these emerging companies both from Turkey and Bangladesh coming up, which are becoming billion-dollar companies. So we have seen Bill Gates and Jack Ma found these kind of opportunities 8-9 years ago, when at a $20 million valuation, Bill Gates has invested in bKash, the mobile financial solutions company in Bangladesh, through his Gates Foundation. And later on, he invested again, and then Jack Ma came in with Ant Financial, invested in this company at around $700 million valuation. Now it's $1 billion company. So I think Bill Gates and Jack Ma are finding great opportunities in countries like Bangladesh, and we expect our friends from Europe, Turkey, and other places can seize the opportunity, because we have a dynamic ambassador in Bangladesh from Turkey, and he can probably initiate that investment scenario. And I would like to propose 4 points to take this platform forward. The first one is, of course, Tinapa mentioned that Turkish investors can invest in Bangladesh, but we would like to reciprocate. Professionally, I'm a general partner of Pegasus Tech Ventures. It's a $1.6 billion fund. We have invested in SpaceX, founded by Elon Musk. We have invested in Airbnb, Gojek in Indonesia, and 180 companies globally. And we have offices in 8 countries in Silicon Valley, Japan, China, and many other countries. So we would like to look into opportunities in Turkey to invest in emerging Turkish startups. So there should be two-way opportunities for both countries' investors to invest in the other country. The second can be promoting our products and services from both countries to other countries through different platforms. Turkey is big in both apparel, jewelry, handicrafts, and then so is Bangladesh. Through our e-commerce companies, digital commerce companies, we'd like to promote our products, and not just traditional, but also technology products. Both countries are emerging as IT powerhouse, so we would like to promote each other's products. And the third is more, getting married, setting up offices in the other country, setting up joint ventures. So that can be the third initiative, and through joint ventures, we can, have a stronger relationship. And the fourth one is joint research and development on technology between the startups, the industry associations, and we also partner with some leading universities where we jointly research and development on industry 4.0 technologies and emerging fields like blockchain, IoT, artificial intelligence, and data analytics. And finally, business model innovation. We have a lot to learn, knowledge transfer from Turkey, as well as from Bangladesh. We are global leader in mobile financial solution innovation. We are top 2 in apparel sector and a few others. So we would love to have that business model innovation and best practice sharing between these 2 friendly countries. And with that collaboration, we'd like to make the friendship between Turkey and Bangladesh a shining example to the rest of the world to follow. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your patience hearing. And unfortunately, I have to leave for another meeting, but we from our association, Venture Capital and Private Equity Association, we are very eager to collaborate and take our friendship and business partnership to the next level. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shamim Ahsan. Thank you so much for your wonderful remarks. We now have the honor to present Mr. Syed Almas Kabir, President, Bangladesh Association of Software and Information Services, BASIS. BASIS is the national trade body for software and IT-enabled service industry of Bangladesh. Mr. Almas has been associated with the ICT industry for last 29 years. He has represented the ICT industry in Prime Minister's delegation to multiple countries promoting investment. He would be speaking about BASIS and its involvement in startup ecosystem of Bangladesh, opportunities of collaboration with Turkish startup bodies and IT and tech associations. Mr. Syed Almas Kabir, would you please take the floor?
Thank you so much, everybody. A very good afternoon from Bangladesh. Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Turkey, my colleagues in Bangladesh in the IT industry, and our friends from Turkey. Once again, I'm very much delighted to be part of this program today, and very warm greetings from BASIS. BASIS is the ICT Association. It's the umbrella ICT Association of Bangladesh. Actually, the full name of BASIS is Bangladesh Association of Software and Information Services. What we do is we basically is a trade body. We have all the IT companies, the software, the e-commerce, the training providers, IT training providers, the IT-enabled service providers. They are our members, and we have now more than 1,500 member companies under BASIS. So BASIS is also, apart from promoting the industry and our member companies, we also work very, very closely with the government in its mission to achieve the digital Bangladesh philosophy, the mission of digital Bangladesh. And for that, we help the government in making policies, making guidelines. And the government is also very kind and very gracious enough to listen to the private sector through BASIS. And they have included BASIS in many different important high-level committees so that they can get our input from the industry. So from BASIS, as I was saying, that we have about more than 1,500 member companies. Many of these ICT companies are quite young. Maybe they are like maybe 2 years to 5 year old companies, and relatively smaller companies. So you can actually call them startups. So what do we have? Let me just show you on screen so that we have made a growth ecosystem within BASIS. You see, we have been talking about, my colleagues, Ms. Tina Jabin, Shamim Ahsan, they have been talking about the startup ecosystem in Bangladesh. For BASIS member companies, the younger companies, we have made a growth ecosystem to ensure their growth. So what we have done, we are giving them several different support services from BASIS, and all of these are free of cost. Just for an example, we are helping them in getting office space for a low cost. I mean, at a very low cost. So we have talked to, we have made arrangement with the High Tech Park Authority in Bangladesh so that the startup BASIS members, these young companies, they get very, the office spaces at all the high tech parks and the software technology park at a very low rate, at a low rent. So this is how we are helping them in getting their office spaces. Now, another very big problem is access to finance. That you all know, and you have been hearing from our Startup Bangladesh company, our Venture Capital Association president, that financing is difficult for the IT companies to achieve, but the government has kindly, they have come forward. But from BASIS, we are also talking to the government, we are talking to different banks and non-banking financial institutions and helping them getting finance for an investment at a very low rate, and sometimes for a very long period, those loans. So we have done this, and we have partnered with especially 2 banks during this COVID period, so that they can access these finance without giving any collateral security. Because as you know that we do not have, our young companies cannot give any collateral to our mortgage to the bank. They do not have the land, or they do not have a building or any tangible property. So all their property, all their asset is actually the intellectual property, and we do not have a system or guideline to assess or evaluate their intellectual property. So we have made arrangements with the banks so that these startup basis members, they can access to the loans without paying any mortgage. Then we are helping them in building their HR capacity. You know, our companies, the young IT professionals in the industry, they are very good technologically, but not necessarily they are good managers. Not necessarily they are good marketeers. So what we are doing is we are trying to build the capacity of these companies, the capacity of the HR through different training programs and workshops with different partners from local and international partners. We are also giving them the legal assistance. So what we have done is we have signed up with a law firm so that basis member companies can access them. They can just make a phone call or write an email, and they can get the legal assistance without any cost. It's a complimentary service for the basis members. And of course, like, you know, sometimes they have to make contracts with the employees, sometimes they have to make contracts with the clients. And most of these companies have no idea about how to do this. So, or sometimes a dispute happens with the clients or the employees. So any kind of legal assistance, they can go to the lawyer or call the lawyer and get the legal advice for free. Similarly, we have also made a pool of lawyers who practice in the intellectual property rights, the copyright and trademark and patent. And we are encouraging these companies to build or to apply for the patent, apply for the trademark and copyright through these lawyers. And again, the advisory service is again complimentary for the basis startup companies. Similarly, we are also giving them the tax and accounting advisory. And we have done workshops. We are doing workshops on a regular basis on how to, streamline their accounting process. Because most of these startup companies, they actually do not have a, very good bookkeeping services. And that actually later on haunts them, because when they go to the bank, they cannot really show anything on paper. So that becomes a very big problem. So that is why we are trying to give this service. Again, that's a complimentary service. We have tied up with PUM of Netherlands. It's a consulting company from Netherlands, and they come twice a year to Bangladesh and give our companies training on marketing and promotion, how to market them and how to market their products and services. So these are the different services that we have started, support services. And we believe that by providing all these support services to these basis member companies who can be considered as startups, we can really help them growing their businesses. Another very popular program that we have started in Basis is the mentoring program. You see, we have many successful entrepreneurs in the industry, very senior entrepreneurs in the industry who are here for 1 or 2 decades, even more. So we have made a pool of these successful people, successful IT professionals, and there is a mentor. So there's a mentor pool and there's a mentee pool. So, and we do the matchmaking between them. And this is a 3 months program. So one mentor mentors 3 or 4 mentees, and again after 3 months it shuffles, it changes. But you see, once the friendship grows, it is a lifelong friendship and lifelong mentorship, and this has been very, very popular within the BASIS member companies. Having said so, this is what we have been doing in BASIS for the young companies. But having said that, I would really love to have some kind of an agreement with the Turkey IT Association, the TBD, as you know, so that we can exchange ideas. Our members can exchange ideas, and also with the help of the Turkish business and the chambers of commerce and other business associations, we are very much interested to have B2B meetings where we can display or showcase our capabilities, our products, our services, and vice versa. And I believe that can be a very good opportunity if we can do that. And we can start these things immediately, maybe virtually, like on Zoom, like what we are doing now, because we have to accept this new normal situation. And also another thing, that the twining program with the accelerators of both the countries. If the accelerators that we have in Bangladesh, you have heard from Ms. Tina Jabin, we have quite a few numbers of accelerators in Bangladesh for the startups, and I'm sure there are many in Turkey. So if these startup accelerators, they have some kind of a twining agreement, then they can exchange ideas, they can exchange their all kinds of activities, and that will become a very good knowledge sharing program. And lastly, as you know, again, you have heard from my colleagues that Bangladesh has a very large number of outsourcing human resource. Just to give you a number, just to give you an idea, Bangladesh caters for the 16% of all the outsourced job in the world. This is a study by the Oxford University's Internet Institute, and Bangladesh ranks only second after India. And as I said, caters for 16% of the all outsourced jobs. So you can understand that we have a very rich pool of HR in this industry. But we have to create more people. We have a target. Right now we have 1 million people working as ICT professionals. We have a target to make it double by 2025. So there's a huge opportunity to provide skills or skill development programs. So maybe this is another opportunity for our Turkish friends to think about setting up training institutes or skill development institutes in Bangladesh, or some kind of exchange program with our institutions, our colleges and universities, through which we can develop the skills of our ICT HR. So that is all from me. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them. And I really look forward to a very strong and friendly relationship with Turkey. I just want to mention, I don't know if you all know, to our Turkish friends, that a friendship with Turkey has been, it's a very old friendship with Bangladesh. We have a very big avenue, very big road named after Kemal Atatürk. And when we were young, we actually read Atatürk's life story, the revolution in our schools. So it's very much, Turkey is a very, I would say it's a very friendly nation. And we consider them as a very good friends of ours. And I really look forward that we will continue this friendship in our ICT and startup culture. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Almas. Thank you so much for your wonderful remarks. And we now present Mr. Burak Buyurdemir. Burak is the founder of Startup Turkey, Startup Istanbul, and Etoham, leading accelerator and seed investor organization in Turkey. Etoham selects 40 startups every year, trains, mentors, and seed invests in startups every year. Etoham has already invested in 100+ startups. Etoham organizes Startup Turkey and Startup Istanbul events, where startups pitches and invest to the investors, and high networking with the European, Asian, and African internet ecosystems. Additionally, after working at financial and technology firms for over 10 years, he wrote a book depicting the founding stories of internet startups in Turkey. Mr. Bugdemir, welcome to our program today.
Thank you very much for inviting me to that astonishing forum and also a meeting, online meeting. I am very happy to be here. So let me tell about 10-minute talk today. I will be telling you about ourselves, what we have done so far, and also connection between the startup ecosystem, what we have done with Bangladeshi entrepreneurs so far, and some outputs and my learnings from how to be ecosystems to be also structured for the last 11 years. So I am the founder of Etohum. Etohum is an accelerator located in Istanbul. We have been founded in 2008, and it was far away from today, and Turkish ecosystem was in the early days of its establishing. Not only the venture capitals, but the number of startups were increasing. So it was 12 years ago. And I was part-time lecturing in Istanbul Technical University. So I have witnessed the 12 years how the Turkish ecosystem has the numbers of successful startups increase in that time span. And by that time, I mean, last 4 years, I have been very close relationship between many ecosystems, and Bangladesh is fourth in our Startup Istanbul application amount. So Bangladesh is one of the also largest amounts of startups that we are receiving applications at Startup Istanbul. At Startup Istanbul, we are gathering lots of communities and ecosystems in Istanbul before COVID physically, but after the COVID remotely. And we have been also helping these startups not only on the physical aspect, but also online as well. So Etohum has also helped Turkish ecosystem to grow last 12 years. In the last 4 years, we have also received lots of applications from different ecosystems. So that's the reason I have been very closely connected with the Pakistani startups and also other Bangladeshi startups and Indian startups, Kenyan startups, Indonesian startups, and other European startups as well. So many startups applied for Startup Istanbul event in last 4 years. And we have been gathering lots of investors from different countries as well. So Istanbul became a melting point for, especially it's a cliche, but connecting West and East together. All the ecosystems has been, it has been a platform for all the ecosystems for also growing their startups and financial kind of support systems. Long story short, in last 4 years, we have hosted 700 startups at Startup Istanbul event, and I think 111 of them has raised seed investment between $100,000 to $1 million, and then 33 of them received A to B round investment. This is $1 to $5 million, and 9 of them has been acquired. And there has been many Bangladeshi startups inside of these statistics. And totally it was over $260 million investment in last 5 years. And saying that, I mean, as a Startup Istanbul event, after the April edition has been postponed, we have already started remote acceleration program in recent years. So we have been doing that by that time as well. So we have also postponed our October edition, and next year is uncertain. So for the physical events, not only for us, but for all of the events around the globe. So we have been mentoring and remote accelerating lots of startups, and our next batch will be starting next week, and it will be for 6 weeks, and we have many startups from Bangladesh. And Dhaka is the 9th city in our list, the top performing cities who applied to Startup Istanbul, by the way. So this is basically what we do, and we are very proud of bridging the two ecosystems together, like these events, and also one-to-one mentorship with the entrepreneurs attending to our event from Bangladesh. So, lastly, I would like to also share some of my comments, which has been also written on the latest book of Brett Feld in creating kind of ecosystems, which he mentioned. I mean, ecosystems are very complex. I mean, they are not managed, but they are, the whole human system is very complex. So although the ecosystem can be built, but it is not managed. And interactions are very critical in these complex systems. So we did in 12 years, run small experimental and lots of failures, by the way. So we learned our failures and tested again and again. So the Turkish ecosystem, in my point of view, structured on that regard. And also, it is a very slow process, and it is slow and uneven and surprising. So you have to sustain a long goals and vision for creating these ecosystems for my friends in Bangladesh when you are building these kinds of environments. So additionally, I mean, this is very important. We should not altogether create another Silicon Valley. Our historical and local contexts are fundamentally different, and they are complex systems. I mean, we should not try to be another Silicon Valley. I mean, every community has focused on their best version of itself. And I mean, it should not replicate another city or a kind of country. So in my point of view, I haven't been to Bangladesh yet. Hopefully after next year's probably would like to visit there with connecting physically face-to-face with lots of entrepreneurs and also counterparts to be there. I am waiting for it. So every city has its origin story and historical evolution. So in my point of view, not only us, Turkey, and also Bangladesh, we should not create another kinds of same kinds of ecosystems, but create our own ecosystems. And we should not be emulating another place, but focusing on improving our own. And we should not wait. We should start very small, but build step by step. And at the end, we will, I strongly believe that we will create new, strongful, and also creative ecosystems, which will be also attractive point for our countries and improving our technology efforts in our countries. Thank you very much. And I'm very happy to be here and hope to meet you one-to-one in next weeks with small meetings.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Burak. Thank you for your lovely speech. Now we would like to present Mr. Fayaz Taher, who is the co-founder at Startup Dhaka. Startup Dhaka is the operating partner of a local accelerator which provides mentorship and structured curriculum. They have worked with 1,500 startups, facilitated 68 investments, and arranged 35 startup events. Mr. Fayaz is a serial entrepreneur, investor, mentor, and a startup community advocate from Bangladesh. Fayaz was one of the youngest vice chairman of Bangladesh Finished Leather Goods Manufacturers and Exporters Association. Mr. Fayaz will be sharing his knowledge and experience on developing an ecosystem, Startup Dhaka activities, and opportunities of collaboration with Turkish startup ecosystem. Mr. Fayaz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mossaddique. Thank you, Your Excellency, Mustafa Usman Turan. It's very nice to meet everyone and all my colleagues from Bangladesh and all the colleagues and friends who are joining from Turkey. Thank you very much. I'm also the Thai Indus Valley chapter Dhaka president. Recently was nominated and it's been a great journey. So in terms of, you know, it's fantastic to hear what Burak said. It was a revelation. It's like, you know, why create something new when you have your own character? That's what culture is all about. And that's why, you know, we are known as the Bay of Bengal, you know, the Royal Bengal Tigers. And we have our own personality and characteristics of Bangladesh in terms of market. The entrepreneurs are tenacious. They are, what I would say is killer instinct and ready to drive every single time. Just to share a small anecdote, is that the Turkey and Bangladesh are very much connected. We also run one of the largest streaming platform called Bongo, and we run a lot of content. Turkish dramas are one of the most watched content in Bangladesh. They are translated in Bangla, and it's crazy. The historical dramas. So there's a lot of cross collaboration happening already at a cultural level with our population that we didn't even realize even before. So it's important these cross collaborations can go at new heights at different levels. In terms of myself, I've invested in a lot of companies taking early angel investment risks. We've invested a lot personally with our partners, and we've gotten over 5x return over 5 to 6 years as angel investors. And then we worked as running one of the country's first accelerator program, and where we graduated over 26 portfolio companies, where one of the companies named Sheva XYZ, they provide SME service to SMEs with business tools, micro POS retail system, people management. These software and experience can be cross-collaborated, shared with potentially startups and service companies in Turkey as well, vice versa, even in microcredit lending. So it shows that where we can go. And eventually what we did is we moved into a VC fund. We're launching an early stage VC fund to invest in growth startups. And there's a lot of cross collaboration that can happen. And through each stage, there's a lot of problems that present itself. You know, when you start early on, it's a lot about mentorship, training in the right direction, making sure you're getting the good advice and business advice. But once you move from startup to, you know, when you have an MVP, the problems change, the nature of the problems change. And that's where Turkish startups and our collaboration can happen at a technical knowledge. It's like, okay, these are the problems, these are the processes, this is what we can do. And then when you move to early stage startups, again, the problems change and the mindsets need to change. So again, experienced startups being connecting the dots together can share their experience. Market characteristics generally remain same among similar cultures. I do believe like Turkey, Bangladesh do have a lot of similar cultural characteristics among the consumer base. So I think we can do a lot of studies and of consumer behavior that can potentially help Bangladesh to understand a lot better, especially for the startups. And we have, you know, companies like Castle Partners who build those consumer studies, so we can connect those two dots together. So in terms of growth and working with country to country collaboration, one of the things that was very good was when I started working in the startup ecosystem, we collaborated with, you know, the different countries who provided small grants to do a lot of events. We invited speakers, we invited startups to come participate and share their stories. Now, in a way, COVID has changed our behavior. Now we can do wonderful virtual webinars like we are doing today. But the notion was, oh, we need to visit that country. But I do believe these webinars and these invites can happen in small groups. You know, if you look at software like Zoom today, they have translation and interpretation, or you can break up into smaller rooms that we didn't have before. So technology can break a lot of barriers, and it doesn't always need physical presence. And that's what my belief is. So in terms of key areas where we can have key takeaways, one I believe is in mentorship in different stages of the companies. So, you know, growth seed early, I think that will be a big thing. Capital, because angel investor training, we need a lot of investment training, because angel investors in Bangladesh are available, but they want to hear from someone successful and someone experienced to get that comfort to push over. So that we can get for the support of Turkish angels. And also VCs. Why should investors put money in a VC fund? You know, getting experienced entrepreneurs who put money in a VC fund and got returns will give people a reason in Bangladesh to say, hey, I don't have the time to manage startups and startup portfolios. Let me just park it in a fund and get my return. What are the typical returns? How do you do VC investment? So these types of trainings will help in the cross collaboration among the two countries and the two ecosystems, and this knowledge. And obviously the knowledge transfer, I think, is very important. Today, our basis president, Said Almas-Kabir, mentioned what they're doing. They have been instrumental, both, you know, Almas-Kabir, Shamim Ahsan, in terms of both, you know, what the country shaped up in terms of policy support, and the mentorship, which has been very effective. And that, to that direction, the government of Bangladesh has been very open. You know, we have tax policies, which is no tax for ICT companies. That's massive for any startup company to, you know, to grow in an ecosystem. So these things have helped us substantially. And a lot of VC policies are changing where they're happening very rapidly and very fast paced. Then, we talk about awareness building. How do we create awareness among the companies in Turkey and in Bangladesh, or talents in Turkey and talents in Bangladesh? That collaboration can happen through webinars and matchmaking, because if companies can collaborate, whether it's in education, telemedicine, health, content, creative contents, like we do productions, we need a lot of talent, we need a lot of help, that it can happen in cross way. And lastly, what I really do think is very important is analytics. You guys have so much data, we have so much data. Can we find ways to make them meaningful and useful for both of our nations? We have a population of 180 million, and the demographic dividend, the age of 50% of the population is under the age of 40. So that's huge. And this economy is going toward $1 trillion economy by 2030. So I think exchanging data and behavior will help both of our ecosystems go in a different way. We can be a test bed, especially like if there are startups in Turkey that want to do test MVPs in the local market through partnership. That can happen very nicely, and through partnerships, and that's an easy, small way to get things off the foot. Or cross investments. Maybe Turkish investors would want to invest in potential industries that are they have technology and support. That can also happen. Or if it's not in tech, it can also happen in other industries. I've been in footwear for 10 years. There was a lot of Turkish buyers coming. There's a lot in garments. There's a lot of creative content. It doesn't need to be stagnated to one particular thing. We should always keep things very open and fluid, and that'll enable more partnerships. And one thing that I really believe in is that things have to move on their own and inertia. Yes, we can push as two bodies and two ecosystems pushing it, but if you make it easy for the entrepreneurs, they will be smart enough to take those opportunities. And that's why you see a lot of startups applying for the startup in Istanbul, because you've created that opportunity, you made it so easy, people apply for it and are doing that. So I think, this is a wonderful opportunity. Thank you, today for allowing me to speak and express my ideas on how we can collaborate. And from Startup Dhaka, or IDLC Fund, or Bongo, or Thai Dhaka, we're more than glad to help and extend our support to this initiative and help this to move forward. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fayaz Taher. Thank you so much for your wonderful speech. Let me now introduce you to Mr. Numan Numan, who is currently Managing Director at 212. He's an investor in technology and an evangelist. Mr. Numan Numan has a solid background in enterprise systems, global technology and services, and international management. Mr. Numan utilizes his 20 years of experience to analyze technology venture companies, identify their needs, and provide customized solutions for each enterprise. Mr. Numan Numan, what are your thoughts on Bangladesh startup and tech ecosystem based on our conversations today? Mr. Numan Numan, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's good to hear all the updates from our friends. And so basically, I think it's good to see that we all go through the similar path. It's not the same, as Brad said. We don't need to create the same thing, but we are creating our own way to our journey. I think you guys are doing the similar thing. I mean, Fayaz mentioned very well that a lot of training needed. We also did the same thing. I mean, a little bit background. I've been investing in tech companies since '97. I started this one in Japan, where I lived there 12 years, worked at Goldman Sachs. Then later moved to New York and continued to invest technology companies in US with Goldman. Then in 2010, I saw the opportunity in Turkey and I moved early 2010. And then we started 212 as a local VC fund in Turkey. It wasn't easy. I mean, when you go to the high network individuals, which it was the only resource in that time, and ask for the investment to the technology fund, they were looking to you like you are coming from another world as an alien. And I'm saying that, you know what, we need to invest in tech companies in Turkey. It's going to be good. And then they say, look, I mean, there's a land over there and I can triple my money in 2 years. Why should I invest in tech company? So we had to go through the, as you guys said, Fayaz said, I mean, the various different trainings and explaining the potentials and what's happening in Turkey. And did well. First fund we raised it in end of 2011 with $30 million. Now we are investing from our second fund, which is 50 million euro. And we returned our first fund successfully. And we have 3 more investments that we will exit. And hopefully we will be aiming to 3x return in the fund. And second fund started investments. And then with second fund, we also expanded our geography in neighborhood or more regional companies who wants to expand in our region in Europe or in US, because we have also quite good background and also good connections for the companies who wants to open a US ecosystem. And some of our companies also choose the different path. They moved to Asia. One of our investment company called Insider, they moved their headquarters to Singapore. And now they are very strong. I believe they also have an office in India and they have, in Bangladesh, and they are basically moving forward with expanding in Asia. So I think a lot of my colleagues and everybody in the call explained very well. I think collaboration is open for everyone. And then as we make the systems much simpler, and I'm sure entrepreneurs will find their ways to reach us and find basically collaborate together. So we've been basically investing in the tech companies and we continue to invest in the region, and we will move forward for the other parts if we find the right companies to invest, and which is very difficult to find, as you guys know very well now. I think we are, as a 212, we will be looking for syndications, co-investments with the startups, even with the VCs. We would love to look for the portfolios, and we are more than welcome for the syndication in Turkey or local companies in Turkey, because far we are the most syndicated VC in Turkey. So we are more than happy to basically do more work together. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your wonderful speech. May we now move on to our next panelist. He's Mr. Nijur Rahman. Mr. Nijur Rahman is the CEO of Bangladesh Angels. Bangladesh Angels is the country's first angel investment network. It connects innovative startups with smart capital via individual and institutional investors. Mr. Nijur will share his experience about building the nation's first angel investment network and collaboration opportunities with Turkish startup ecosystem. Mr. Nijur, you have the floor.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone, and great to meet everyone on the call. Thank you so much for having me. I won't take up too much. I know I'm towards the end, and I think so many of my colleagues have sort of already expressed the opportunity and what's going on in Bangladesh. I think, as mentioned, we are the first kind of organized angel network in the country, and we're really working. We're standing on the shoulders of giants who are in the call with us. All of these people on the panel from the Bangladesh side have been our supporters, friends, board members, etc. We came about, I guess, as a response to kind of 3 main trends that's been happening in Bangladesh over the last 6 or 7 years. The first is, we've graduated towards having a full-time ecosystem, thanks to people like Fayaz Bhai, or thanks to organizations like Basis, to support early stage entrepreneurs, build up their capacity, propagate certain levels of entrepreneurship education. So that's one. Second is, there's thanks to people like PEAB. I think Shamim Bhai was on the call earlier. Or I hope, I apologize, I joined a little later, but there's been more and more institutional capital, whether it's from local conglomerates, whether it's from local sources or international sources going into startups in the country. There's been close to probably $300 million worth of investments in startups in Bangladesh over these years. And lastly, I think, the government has also been quite supportive in 2 ways, I think. One is the infrastructure side, when we're talking about software technology parks. Another is from a policy standpoint, as mentioned, with Basis and getting tax exemption, as well as from a liquidity standpoint, as Fayaz Bhai mentioned, creating a structure whereby locally domiciled funds can start operating, encouraging financial institutions to get into startup investing, as well as, structures like, what Tina is running at Startup Bangladesh, which will hopefully be very active soon when it comes to investing and co-investing alongside various investors in the country. So what we do in light of that, we try to bridge the transaction costs on both sides, both for early stage entrepreneurs as well as potential angel investors. For many entrepreneurs, it's very difficult, I think, for them sometimes to know where the angel investors are, how to talk to them, how to communicate with them, how to negotiate with them, and how to manage them post-investment. Those things are just not taught really. And then on the other side, there's many people within Bangladesh and outside Bangladesh, and I think many of them are on the call today, who would like to get involved in the growing digital economy in Bangladesh, who've seen some of the success cases and would love to get involved. But for them, it's a lack of time when it comes to looking under the hood of many of these companies, curating them, vetting them, bringing on like-minded people on board alongside, and then helping to manage them post-investment as well. So we come in sort of as an intermediary, we create startups and we create investors. We'd like to create syndicates who would then come into these companies in similar terms, at founder-friendly terms. And then we'd like to kind of work with them over time to be able to hopefully get them to the next level of funding, whether it's seed. We work on pre-seed, so we, for next stages of funding, whether it's seed or beyond. So that's kind of the model. We've been operating since the end of 2018, so we're still quite new. We've been able to make 6 investments so far, have facilitated around $500,000 worth of capital. And what's been interesting during COVID is that we've completely digitized, so that's also a theme that Fazpai talked about. We used to meet face-to-face for all the events. Now we're doing everything over Zoom. In fact, that's actually helped for us to engage many international partners, many non-resident Bangladeshis, many foreign investors. And so we've been able to create linkages in places like India, Europe, Korea, and beyond, and would certainly love to do that with Turkey as well. I would just echo as far as kind of next steps. I think there's tremendous opportunities. I think Bangladeshi startups need to look for regional linkages. We'd love to kind of help support that with your support as well. So I think joint showcases make a lot of sense. Working with some of these esteemed colleagues on the panel, either Turkish companies looking to enter the Bangladeshi market or Bangladeshi startups that are actively looking for linkages to the Turkish market. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think Almasabhai also talked about twinning accelerators. I think that's going to continue to be a priority, is to improve the accelerator ecosystem in the country and continue to build them up. We're also involved with one in particular, but we work with everybody in the market as well. And so I think those are some of the things I would just echo, and I'm looking forward to kind of more individual conversations going forward, but cannot thank you enough for your interest in Bangladesh, and hopefully we can make some great things happen together.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nizar. Thank you so much for your speech. We're a bit behind on schedule, but this has been a very interesting and beneficial webinar. Invite Mr. Mehmet Unsal. Mr. Mehmet Unsal is a SDGIS or Sustainable Development Goal Impact Accelerator team co-leader. SDGIA offers equity-free cash, mentoring, field visits, network, impact capital, and partnership to any technology service or product offering a solution to a big problem of poverty, water or sanitation, or any innovative solution to the sponsored challenge topics. Mr. Mehmet Unsal is an active supporter of more widespread use of innovative technologies in Turkey. Mr. Mehmet Unsal, we would love to know your plans on launching SDGIA in Bangladesh and how Bangladeshi startup ecosystem stakeholders can collaborate.
Thank you, Mossaddique. Hello, everyone. On behalf of the SDGI Impact Accelerator team, it's great to have this opportunity to get to know you even for briefly, and we'll be getting in touch with you as well in the following weeks. So I'm part of a bigger team, but my colleague Ece is also online right now, so maybe I'll give the word to her briefly as well, for her to say hi as well, so you get to know us a little better.
Hi everyone, this is Ece from the SDGIA Accelerator Program team. As Mehmet mentioned, we will be working on the project together. I've been in Turkish entrepreneurship ecosystem. I've been actively working in the ecosystem for like 10 years now. And as Numan mentioned, it's very nice to listen how similar processes are going on. So it's very exciting for us to be working through SDGIA program with Bangladeshi startups. So I give the floor back to Mehmet. Thank you, Mehmet.
Thank you, Ece. Well, let me say a few words about the Impact Accelerator. It's a global Accelerator with a multi-stakeholder platform, which consists of, as you know, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, UNDP, UN Technology Bank, private sector partners, as well as the relevant authorities from our partner countries, such as, you know, the Ict Ministry in Bangladesh, and also stakeholders from the entrepreneurship ecosystem. And so it's great to see you all on this call. The SDGI consists of actually 3 components. The Systems Lab, which is kind of like a think tank, the accelerator itself, which was piloted last year successfully in Turkey, and then the Impact Investment Fund as well, which will be active very soon. We're in the process of establishing a foundation, which will be also leading this Impact Investment Fund. So impact investment is of high interest to us as well. As you know, each year we select challenges. This year, you know, we have 2 partner countries, Uganda and Bangladesh, and digital agriculture is the challenge for Uganda, and financial inclusion is for Bangladesh. The program itself consists of 3 components. We start with the pre-acceleration program, which will be in February 2021. We'll select the best teams in that pre-acceleration program, and we'll select 10 teams to participate in the accelerator program, which will start in April. And we'll be giving equity-free funding to all the participating startups in the accelerator. And at the end of this program, we'll select the best teams to go into the implementation phase, and there will be more funding and impact investment for these specific startups as well. The call will be opened in November. And so right now, I think this is a great opportunity to get to know, you even for briefly. I listened to all of you, and it's very exciting what's going on in Bangladesh. The 2 countries have very good relations, and would like to extend these relations to the ecosystem, entrepreneurship ecosystems as well through this program, and reach the resilient and tenacious, like you said, startups in Bangladesh as well. In the following weeks, would like to get in touch with you, to talk with you, to see how we can make this program a success for both countries, and all the impact entrepreneurs who will be attending this programs, and also reach successful startups which are operating in the realm of financial inclusion. The implementation of this is going to be taking place in Bangladesh, but it's open to global startups. But our prerequisite is that the implementation should be in Bangladesh. So the more Bangladeshi startups working on financial inclusion we can attract to this program, the better. So we'll be talking to you to see how we can make this successful. And this partnership is not only for 1 year. Obviously, we're doing this with Bangladesh this year, but the hope is, and the objective of this call is to support this goal as well, is to extend this cooperation beyond this year, and to see what else we can do more together, especially on impact investment, especially supporting the goals, some of the goals like Mr. Shamim Ahsan mentioned as well, in terms of investment, promoting products across the countries, setting up offices and, joint R&D, and among other things. So would like to, brainstorm with you on how we can make this possible. I'd like to thank you all for attending the call, and I hope to talk to you all in the coming weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mehmet Unsal. I forgot to mention that we have another session right after your speech. Right now, we'll have 3 startups speaking and pitching their products and their startups today. One is Certifier from Turkey, and they graduated from the SDGIA. Then we'll have Monrebuntu from Bangladesh, and then we'll have Bima Bidi from Bangladesh presenting. So may I now ask a certifier to present themselves?
Of course, I will do. Well, thank you for giving this opportunity to meet and collaborate here today. I am here, happy to be here with all of you, and thank you for the invitation as well. Well, till now, it has been a great panel, and in order to understand the details of a possible collaboration between two countries. And once again, I would like to state that we were one of the participants and members of the first cohort of the Sustainable Development Goals Impact Accelerator program. So it is great to hear that it's going to be a second cohort in the upcoming months, and hopefully it's going to be solving important issues to create a great impact. So to talk about our startup here, actually, if you want me to give you a pitch about the startup's details, can you please give me the hosting features in order to let me just check my screen as well?
Yes, just a second.
While waiting for your permission, I would like to make the introduction as well. Well, at Certifier, we allow institutions to understand all of the education and experience data based on, just let me share the screen at the same time as well. Based on the skill sets of individuals. So while doing that, we are developing our technologies as well. And while developing our technologies, we directly allow institutions to use two different products of ours. So right now I will be sharing my screen with you. I guess you can see it clearly. So as I stated, we provide the greatest tools to analyze big data that focus on education in order to provide sustainable data. So while we are doing this, we mainly focus on education and experience data that remains scattered around time. So we evaluate this data within a scope of skill sets. So when we begin our journey, we focused on two different problems here. The first problem was because due to the untraceable and analyzable status of the skill sets that belongs to the institutions. And at the same time, on the other hand, we had the individuals, which means us. We couldn't find a properly secured place to store our data. We couldn't share them in times of need. And of course, we couldn't create meaningful career pathways for the individuals as well. So based on this, after mentioning all of these problems, the value of it that we need most is the education and the experience data that should be located in one place, and the very same data should be gathered, defined, and analyzed. That is exactly what we do. With the very same data, we securely store it using blockchain. We provide 80% saving from materials, 60% increasement in the participation through the trainings, and of course, easier learning pathway creation for the workplaces with the verified employee and candidate employee credentials. So what we are offering as our services, we provide our direct services to the companies via our web application. Certified application, which is the application that has given its name to the company directly as well as the design and storage place for the credentials in one place. Main reason is obvious here, because certificates should have been the greatest tool to define the skill sets of individuals. So by using the same traditional tool, we give a value opportunity with the very basics. And of course, we have direct integration API library and the opportunities as well in order to get into the workflow of the company's educational system directly. On the other hand, we have our direct product, which is called Verified, and where we allow individuals to directly analyze and understand their skill sets. And at the same time, we are giving feedback to those individuals based on their education possible pathway that is forthcoming for them as well. So what we are doing here is that we are trying to understand the educational experience big data in order to solve a great problem here, because individuals cannot assess themselves when they are compared to their peers. They struggle to understand their skill sets, and they do not know which skills are needed for their prospective profession as well. And for the institutions, there are detailed problems here as well, because institutions cannot get skills-based employee profiles. They struggle to develop strategies on work, and this goes as well. So based on all of the details that I can show you here, I would like to just give you some details about roadmap that cross with the Sustainable Development Goals Impact Accelerator program's first cohort. We were launched during August 2018, and till the previous summer, we had some accelerator program participations and some memberships through some different programs as well. But during the previous summer, we attended, as I stated at the beginning of this presentation, in Sustainable Development Goals Impact Accelerator program. So in this program, the problem that we were focusing on was the digital identity crisis that is especially happening in Turkey based on the people who are under the temporary protection of Turkish government. Because people who were carried away from their mainland into Turkey, they lost their credentials, their diplomas, their identities as well. And while they were trying to get into the jobs infrastructure, they were struggling in order to directly verify their education and experience background. So what we did, we directly allowed them to use our technology in order to identify their background and verify it as well. And with the cooperation of the Turkish government, United Nations Development Program, and of course, with different stakeholders supporting this whole process, we mainly focus on the whole infrastructure. And at the end, we had our pilot and still continuing with it. And finally, we will achieve a level where we will be giving an opportunity for all the individuals who are living in this world to identify themselves by just using technology and to have a verified background as well. So right now, we are in 2 different countries continuing our way. And of course, with the support that came from the funding, came from SDGIA program, helped and supported us through all of our journey as well. So I would like to just cut my presentation right here and would like to present my gratitude to you, towards you. Thank you for listening to me as well here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for presenting your startup. May we now ask Monrebuntu to present themselves.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Ms. Ikshita, can you please turn off your television or your audio? You can turn it down a little bit, because there is an echo coming.
Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you so much for inviting us onto this panel. It has been a very informative session. I've been hearing all the discussion, and I definitely agree. The ecosystem is a huge booster in taking forward the startups in Bangladesh and anywhere in the world, really. So I think as I share the story of Monrebuntu, it will be very clear how this ecosystem, how the nurturing that we have received from this ecosystem has helped us go forward. So if I may, I'd like to share my screen with you. Can you please enable the screen sharing?
Yes, just a second.
Okay. I'm Ict Ministry. I'm the program manager of Monrebuntu, and I'm presenting on behalf of the team today.
You have the screen share enabled.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we're waiting. Yeah, it came up. You're good.
Okay, right. So after seeing her mother suffer from severe depression and going through the experience as a family, the founder of Monrebuntu, Tawhida Shirapa, she assembled a team of empathetic individuals who strongly believed and really believed in the need for mental health care in Bangladesh. And Shirapa's mother's sufferings are not uncommon. 20 million of people across Bangladesh suffer from mental health problems, while 71% of the Dhaka population suffers from depression. And the fear and stigma of that, which is associated with mental health, stops them from seeking help. Are my slides moving?
We can't.
Can you see my slides?
You can.
Right. Oh, sorry. I think I've been having a bit of trouble. Right. So as I was saying, it's very relevant in the country. 20 million people suffering across the country, and 71% of the Dhaka population suffering. And of course, as we all know, there's a lot of stigma and disgrace associated with mental health, not only in Bangladesh, across the whole world. And to make matters worse, due to COVID-19, more and more people are suffering panic, anxiety, stress, and depression. And that was very well predicted by WHO just at the beginning of the pandemic. And we've also noticed a jump in domestic violence. So these women are very vulnerable and they're stuck at home where they should feel safe. But on the other hand, just in April alone, over 4,000 women face domestic violence. Now, Monrebuntu offers the solution, working towards SDG 3.4 as a mental health care service provider since 2016. Now, we provide in-person video and telecounseling. We organize workshops, group sessions. We also conduct research and develop training modules. And with our network of 100 psychologists, psychiatrists, and mental health care workers, we have reached over 25 million people online and over 100,000 people through our events and 5,000 people in person, face-to-face counseling. Now, since the outbreak of the virus, Monrebuntu has been providing COVID-19 response service. Also, we're regularly publishing guided meditation, social media posts, blogs on how to stay healthy and happy during this outbreak. Currently, we are being supported by the UNDP, and we are creating animation stickers, leaflets, celebrity pledges, TV shows with expert discussions to raise mental health awareness, especially during this time of COVID-19. And these alone have reached over 1.8 million views. And we are also providing 24/7 free video and telecounseling. And so far, over 5,000 calls from 26 districts across Bangladesh. And to say what our unique propositions are, it is our quickness of response. We're available 24/7, but we are also focusing on our confidentiality. We have a hand-created global standard ethical code of conduct. We have our certified and trained counselors, and we treat every case with a personalized approach. It is not a one-size-fits-all approach. Now, to talk about our business model, Monrebuntu currently earns its revenues from counseling, workshops and trainings, research projects, partnerships, and TV and radio shows. Now, as you can see, we have secured quite a few financial milestones. At the very beginning, we received a tremendous support from Startup Bangladesh of the ICT division of Bangladesh, and that has really laid the foundation for all the growth that we have received over the next few years. Now, so far, we have worked with Startup Bangladesh, USAID, UNDP, BRAC, EMK Center, BGMEA, PAM Netherlands, and Save the Children, just to name a few. Now, in order to reach more and more people, we will continue to hold our awareness, mostly through online sessions, through webinars because of the current COVID-19 scenario, but we are also focusing on online marketing through social media posts and awareness content. In our management team, our CEO, Tawhida Shiropa, she has 11 years of experience in the social sector and 5 years just in mental health, and the rest of the team has a very wide skill set from research to management to IT. And among our trained and certified counselors, there are local and international experts. Here we have the most recent achievements of Monrebuntu. On June 8th, we were declared as the champions of Call for Nation under the mental health and well-being theme. So we're developing the first ever mental health app in Bangladesh exclusively for COVID-19 response. That is again being supported by the ICT division. We were also the winners of UNDP Youth Collab. We received that award in December 2019. And most recently, we've also won the SNV Netherlands grant to work on mental well-being of the garments factory workers. Now, our goal, our far-reaching goal is to cure 20% of the people across Bangladesh who are suffering from mental health issues. And to do that, we want to create more and more, at least 3 times more mental health workforce for the community. For that, we need to create more B2B partnerships and B2C packages, which will be aided by the Monrebuntu app. And for that, we need your support. We need support from the ecosystem. We need support from the investors. And we also need goodwill ambassadors and mental health advocates. Thank you so much for listening to me, and take care of your mental health.
Thank you, Monrebuntu, for your presentation. Now we have Alvi from BIMA-BD presenting BIMA-BD.com.
Hello, everyone. It's actually really great to be here with such an esteemed panel of guests. So I'll straightly jump to BIMA-BD.com. What is BIMA-BD.com? BIMA-BD.com is an online insurance marketplace where multiple insurance companies provide all their retail products, and anyone can get their products comparing with other companies and features. So besides the marketplace, we also operate in a corporate model where we're providing microinsurance solutions. We're providing data enrollment and claim solutions to insurance companies and also the corporates who require new edges in products. Well, how we started BIMA-BD is a funny story. While working for one of the largest general insurance companies, Green Delta in Bangladesh, we were going through this article where it says Bangladesh has one of the largest insurance gap in the South Asian region. That's what prompted us to, do something special, to bring in new products in an attempt to solve the problems, to bring in more financial inclusion and probably, solve problems for a lot of people. That's where we started providing microinsurance products for different corporates. Like we provide one for shows, bus, train, and launch tickets. And very recently, this microinsurance product for Robi Axiata Digital actually won the award for Communic Asia, which was held for telecommunication companies competing against Huawei and Tata and multiple other companies. So in response to COVID-19, that was what it's for. So yeah, we're working on multiple streams, and as mentioned, financial inclusion and providing insurance and taking insurance to the ends of the country is our main goal over here. It was great to hear from every one of you, and well, recently with the travel insurance product, we have multiple countries have actually asked for mandatory travel insurance in order to enter those countries. So we're also providing that and much more products. So it was great to be here and great to hear from all of you. I'll just keep it short over here. Thank you everyone for the platform and opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alvi, for your presentation. May we now, yeah, Mr. Ambassador, you have the floor. May we now present Mr. Ambassador again for the closing remarks?
Thank you very much. This has been a long but very rich. Actually, this shows that there's, as I said in the beginning, how many opportunities exist in the upcoming collaboration between the two countries and the startups of both Bangladesh and Turkey. As governments, we will certainly facilitate this collaboration, like these gatherings to start with, but we will not remain only talking. We should also take action to support startups in their partnerships. There were quite a number of questions which I have tried to respond in written form. And I have some colleagues here who I would like to introduce. Mr. Usal Shahbaz and Mr. Sinan Tandoğan. They kindly also joined us. They're also significant actors in our ecosystem. I was planning to give them also the floor. If they wish to say something now, they can do so. But as I said, we will have other opportunities. They took notes. I know they told me they took many notes. And we will come up with some concrete ideas. Sinan Bey, would you like to at least say hello to everyone so that they see your face, and maybe in the future they will be familiar with you and Ussal too?
Of course. Thank you very much, Honorable Ambassador. It's really a great pleasure to listen all these distinguished speakers, and I took a lot of notes, as you mentioned, and we have to go for the next step. And we have to, maybe we talk a lot about the ecosystem, but we need to identify the basic bridge actors of this ecosystem for this collaboration. And I think it's a good idea to establish a small task force to promote this collaboration. We can start with that one, but for the time being, I thank you all and leave the floor again to you for the next meeting.
Thank you, Sinan Bey. May I also ask Ussal just to introduce yourself? Ussal was our consultant from the very beginning of the SDG Impact Accelerator. He has a very outstanding career in the field of innovation and entrepreneurship. He was also one of the 5 members of the international expert team who prepared the feasibility report, as well as the assessment report that came out after the completion of the first program of the SDGIA. Ussal, would you like to share with us a few words about how this meeting was useful for us in terms of SDG Impact Accelerator?
Sorry, thank you very much. It was a real pleasure, and thanks for the invite, Mr. Ambassador. I think I have always encouraged the Turkish funds and entrepreneurs to take a regional perspective, and I think it is the same for the Bangladeshi entrepreneurs. In a very global world, it is very hard to compete with large countries like China or the USA with the scale that our countries have. So we need to have a regional perspective, and this was a very good beginning. One of the themes over which we can develop cooperation is these SDGs, and I think the SDG Impact Accelerator, having Bangladesh as its first pilot country and having official support from the both governments, provides the ground for that. So let's take it from here, and as Sinan Bey said, form a task force and work on concrete opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ussal. So with this, I think we have come to the end of our program, but before closing, may I turn to Tina if she would like to say something. After listening very carefully, I saw all the speakers. Do you have any comment to make, or shall we close here?
Thank you so much. Thank you, His Excellency. And thank you so much to everybody for listening so patiently and very keenly. So I think that, I was very busy chatting with all these different speakers because it's really exciting, all the stories that we heard about, especially the Turkish accelerators and SDGI, and also, the stories that we heard from our own startups. So what it tells that, there is a lot to do. And I think that, our ICT Ministry and Startup Bangladesh Limited, we would like to extend full support to the platforms. And I would like to schedule some, probably some discussions to see how we can go forward and be, in a formal way, and then, go from there. So definitely, this is very, very promising, and we are very committed to work together. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So yes, as you said, and many others also pointed out, we need to move from words to action. So bringing together, B2B, startup to startup, also opportunities for discussion would be probably one of our next steps. We are also planning to organize a follow-up meeting with the participation of the Honorable ICT Minister, hopefully immediately after we prepare the call for Bangladesh, the call of the SDG Impact Accelerator, as Mehmet has mentioned in more detail. So that will be another channel through which we can increase our collaboration. So thank you to you all for joining us. I have been receiving a lot of messages, on the side of this meeting, which were all positive. So that should encourage us to continue this dialogue further. Over to you, Mossaddique, just to close.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you so much for your closing remarks. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and listening to us very keenly, as Ms. Tina said. We'll try to better manage schedule next time. And there has been a couple of errors. Apologies for those. And you can write to us anytime at hello@stationdhaka.com. And lastly, for those who are interested in expanding to Turkey or the European and MENA region, we have a registration form. We'll distribute it immediately after in the Facebook page. Stay tuned for the Turkish and Bangladeshi Innovations and Technology series. Thank you all very much for joining us today.